Hello. Hi. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. Happy early September weekend to you. Yes, I'm here. I'm ready. I'm ready to do a stream. So I looked ahead at my TV and I'm like, why is the TV off? I'm about to stream. Usually I have I have the console game that I'm going to stream, or even the Steam Deck game that I'm about to stream running on the TV. But I'm not playing a game tonight. I'm not playing any games. I'm not playing. Tonight I am providing knowledge. Tonight I'm doing another Shonen Jump preview. So so every now and then, um I guess yeah, let me what's the usual spiel I give on this? Shonen Jump is a manga magazine. It's arguably the most famous manga magazine out there that runs in Japan. Um it runs several different shonen series, and shonen series are traditionally series targeted at kind of like teenage boys and young men. But that genre has really broadened over the years, and demographics don't really mean as much anymore. But uh, but still, yeah, Shonen Jump uh runs a excuse me um as if you've been following me recently, you know that I'm still recovering from COVID a bit, but I think I'll be able to power through this. So Shonen Jump publishes chapters of series every week, and they are responsible for uh, a lot of the biggest manga and anime of all time. One Piece, that comes from Weekly Shonen Jump. Jujutsu Kaisen comes from Shonen Jump. My Hero Academia comes from Shonen Jump. Dragon Ball, Fist of the North Star, uh, Saint Seiya, uh, fucking Naruto. Um, yeah, all of this originated in Shonen Jump magazine, and one of the big reasons that they are known, Chainsaw Man, one of the reasons they're known for so many big series is they have a very specific style of rotating, introducing new series. They have a pretty cutthroat method of of adding like two to four, really like two to six new series to the magazine every season or so, and when they do that, they also remove about as many series from the magazine at the same time. Um, so for every long, like every huge series that you've heard of from Shonen Jump, um, Bleach, uh, Promised Neverland, Doctor Stone, there are about 10 series that only ran for like 20 chapters and then got like axed immediately. I've really been fascinated by this. I've done several Shonen Jump previews at this point, um, where I just follow the magazine very intently to kind of keep an eye on what's new in the magazine, what's what's leaving, what's entering, because it's kind of fun to keep an eye on what the next big thing might be, you know. And at the same time, it's always sad to see what definitely isn't the next new big thing. So so yeah, why don't I recap um just made chapter 49 of Witch Had a Atelier. Damn, you might be farther than where I am. You might be farther than me. Hold on one sec. I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna go look at my Witch Hat Atelier volumes right now to make sure that uh that one of us doesn't spoil the other. One sec. One sec. Let's see, last volume of Witch Hat Atelier I got was volume 11. Okay. Okay. All right, I read up to volume 62 of Witch Hat, so you won't spoil me. You won't spoil me. There's there's a volume of Witch Hat Atelier that's out that I haven't gotten yet. So I want to make sure. Although I guess maybe you're not reading volume releases, maybe you're reading scans. Um I would recommend the volume releases because the translation is like much better. The translation for the official releases is really good. Okay, good cuz you have a question. What's your question? Before I guess we get started on Shonen Jump stuff. Which hat's so good. I hope you've been enjoying yourself with it. I guess that hasn't even been established yet, but lay your query upon me. How did I feel about the content warning? You've never seen that in a manga. Hey, you're reading the official volume releases. Hooray. I loved it. I was so happy to see that. like, um, no, I think it was awesome that they did that. Yeah, in volume, I think in volume 9 or 10, um, you know, you're you're reading the manga as usual, which had ateliers generally, kind of very lighthearted. It can get intense sometimes, but it's generally like the tone of it is very, very kid friendly usually. And then yeah, and then there's a chapter right before the chapter there's just a content warning on the page before it that's like, hey, this chapter has some heavy themes in it. These are the heavy themes. If you want to skip this chapter, you won't miss any major story beats. Um and yeah, I think them doing that was perfect because, like, then I read the chapter. I think if that content warning wasn't there, I would have been caught completely off guard by the content, right? Like, it's absolutely, like, especially in Witch Hat Atelier, that was like a tonal shift. That was definitely a couple shades darker than Witch Hat Atelier usually gets. And because I was able to brace myself for it a little bit, I was able to appreciate uh the intent and the purpose behind that story. It's a story that doesn't glorify, like, that chapter doesn't glorify those themes. That chapter, you know, uses it to kind of inform you about a character, and give you some context on them. And I think it's done in a really, I think it's executed really well. There's so many manga that, that have certain themes and execute them really badly and just kind of like ruin the experience for me sometimes. Um, yeah, I think the combination of it being well written and the warning being there to kind of set my expectations in the first place. Um, like that's one of the better experiences I've had reading a manga, like it's uh yeah, you personally greatly appreciate the content warning. I think it was such a good idea for them to put that in. And I've seen content warnings in a couple of other mangas I've read, and I think it's always a good idea. I think it's always a good idea because I think for each of those that I've seen, I read about 10 manga that probably should have had a content warning, and instead just like you know got me in a funk with like the left field nonsense uh that it just hit me with out of nowhere. But yeah, you weren't expecting it, but that's good to hear. Yeah, yeah, no. Why have you not have you not actually read the have you not actually read the chapter yet? Is that why you're asking? Or you just kind of wanted to hear how I felt about the content warning in general? Either way, yeah. Um, no, you haven't read it. I mean, it's a heavy chapter. It's a heavy chapter, and it has the themes that it warns you about. Uh, but yeah, I think it's well done. I think Kanome Shirohama, I think that's her name. I think she's an excellent storyteller, uh and she is one of a not very large number of manga creators that I trust with themes like that. She earned my trust with that. Anyway, yeah, Witch Atelier is really good. I hope you've been enjoying the rest of it. I guess you must have if you're 60 plus chapters in, right? 40 plus chapters in. I'm 60 plus chapters in. Okay. Well, I guess that was a little detour. Yeah, I guess I can get started on the Shonen Jump manga preview. So to recap, um, I guess here's a couple before we talk about the new stuff. Let's talk about some of the old stuff. And there's some pretty significant old stuff. Um, because the stuff that's leaving the magazine has there's some pretty big stuff leaving the magazine. First up, My Hero Academia ended a few weeks ago. My Hero Academia is over. The series has concluded. Um, yeah, I haven't read the ending myself. I haven't actually read the manga yet. I was anime only. I wanted to be anime only until I caught up, and then I fell off of the anime during the villain arc. During the arc where like, you know, uh, fucking Hand Boy and his buddies are fighting Doctor Doofenshmirtz. I stopped around there. Um, so I haven't seen how it ends, although I've been spoiled on a couple things. Um, but yeah, this is over. Um, and ending in a few weeks is Jujutsu Kaisen. Um, which I have been following, which I am up to date on, and it's nice to see Jujutsu Kaisen end. Honestly, it's been I like a lot about Jujutsu Kaisen, but it has been dragging a bit. Um, so I think it's kind of a relief that it's finally getting to conclude. It's doing kind of an epilogue thing right now, and I am enjoying it. Um, It's Sukuna glazing arc is finally over. Really, that started in chapter 1 if you really think about it. Um but yeah, one thing that's really interesting about both of these series uh ending about the same time is that Shonen Jump has launched a contest for Japanese manga creators to make a one shot, to make like a battle, to come up with a concept for a battle manga basically. And it's going to be judged by several like battle manga creators, like Horikoshi will be one of the judges. I think the Black Clover guy will be one of the judges. I think the Bleach guy is one of the judges, and I forgot the fourth judge. But basically, like they're gonna have a bunch of battle manga pros judge all these battle manga one shots, and the winner will get a series basically. Like basically these big ass battle manga are all like ending around the same time, and now Shonen Jump is like scrambling for some new quality battle manga to like fill in those shoes. So I think that's really interesting. I think the next year or so uh of Shonen Jump trying to find more good battle manga is going to be very interesting. There is some battle manga like still in the magazine that's good, you know, like One Piece is still there. Sakamoto Days is very good. Um, Kagurabachi is is shaping up to be a really excellent battle manga. Am I submitting? We'll see if I get around to it. We'll see if I learn how to draw and learn Japanese in like the next 3 months. That won't be hard. Excited for more Exorcist manga? Yeah, that's a very distinct and unfortunate possibility, actually. Excuse me. Um, but outside of these veteran manga that's ending, the new batch has 3 new series, and 2 series are getting canceled, and they're both series that I covered um earlier this year. Um, the first is Kyokoto Necromance. Um, Also, Togashi is bringing Peak back next month. Yes. Right when Jujutsu Kaisen ends, Hunter x Hunter is gonna come back. Um, for at least 10 chapters, probably. Um, you liked Kyokoto, and after reading the first 2 to 3 chapters, you knew it was getting canned. LOL. It unfortunately didn't really have the vibe that it was gonna stick around, did it? And that's a bummer. I liked Kyokoto Necromance. I thought it was really solid. I think I think it had a lot of potential to be like a really good Exorcist manga. To be really good for an Exorcist manga. But yeah, it has some decent potential, but it just didn't execute it as well, IMO. Yeah, you know what? Like, this is from the guy that did Aliens Area. I liked Aliens Area more, I think. Um, but there is stuff I liked a lot about Kyokoto Necromance, but yeah, it ultimately didn't stick the landing. And then like it had the weirdest fucking ending ever. Like, you know, I don't really want to spoil the ending for anyone that hasn't read Kyokoto Necromance, but like I will say, I guess broadly, that like it is Kyokoto Necromance is one genre for about 17 of the 18 chapters that it runs, and then the 18th chapter it becomes a completely different genre and then ends. um so strange, so weird. uh I hope the author comes back. I really like the author's art style. I think they have a really striking and interesting art style, and I hope they come back. Um, if they come back to Weekly Shonen Jump, it'll be their third chance. And it's at least heavily rumored that Shonen Jump has kind of a three strikes you're out policy. Like if his third try is not a hit, then he won't get any more tries in the magazine. So, I hope he does okay. Uh the second and last series that's ending. Well, maybe yeah, it should be last just because of the order of things. You're in volume 26 of World Trigger also. Still haven't read any World Trigger, but I am curious about it. Did Black Clover end? No, Black Clover isn't in Weekly Shonen Jump anymore. It is now in Jump Giga, which uh puts out a new issue like every 2 to 4 months, basically. Um, they did that so that Togashi has more time. Not Togashi. The Black Clover guy. Blanking on his name, but they did that so that the Black Clover guy would have more time to do chapters because uh a weekly schedule was killing him. It was negatively affecting his health. So they're like, "Hey, why don't you instead of do a chapter every week, you do like 2 chapters every 3 months?" And the chapters that have been running in Jump Giga, the ones that he has had more time to work on, have been incredible. They've been so good. Like Black Clover has had a huge increase in quality now that he has a proper amount of time to make chapters. It's really nice actually. Um, all your favorite series have authors with medical issues. That happened to the World Trigger author too. It's a rough gig, man. Like yeah, you are expected to churn out 23 pages of of a story. Like you're supposed to script it out, draw it, ink it, and get that out on a weekly basis for pretty much like a minimum of 5 months. But if you are a hit, you might have to do that just for years straight. It's yeah, no wonder people's bodies fall apart doing it. Yuki Tabata, yes. Yes, thank you. And Daiki Ashihara is the World Trigger author. Okay, cool. So the next series that got canceled is Saikyu Biori, um, which is what it's still called in my OBS tab, but the English name of the series is Psych House. Um, and Psych House is airing its last chapter this week. And this one makes me really sad. I love Psych House. Psych House ended up being kind of a cute little slice of life about kind of a share house for people with different powers, basically. Um, the girl on the left has the power to teleport herself and any object that she knows where the object is. Um, she can teleport things to herself. She can teleport things to specific locations. She can teleport herself to specific locations. Um, and the boy with the bucket head has the ability to change the size of himself and other things. Um, and they live in a share house together with a mind reader, with a girl that can duplicate herself, and with a talking tanuki. Um, and I'm sure they would have added more people to the share house if this series got to run for more than 17 chapters, but it didn't. It didn't. it was such a cozy series, man. It's just like it's just these people enjoying everyday life, using their powers in kind of mundane and silly ways, just kind of enjoying each other's company. Um, if you're a jerk, you might say that the series maybe got canceled for being too low stakes, but I was really enjoying myself. I was really having a good time. um, but it, uh, I guess like, I guess like no one pre-ordered it. Like the first volume just went on sale this week too, and no copies of it sold really. Um, so so yeah, that's that. The older you get, the more you realize find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life is a myth, even for a mangaka. Yeah, maybe especially for a mangaka. I guess. I guess if the job you love is like eating a sandwich and not telling anyone that you ate the sandwich, like just lying in bed eating a sandwich and then you get paid for it somehow, maybe if you find that job and you love it, you'll never work a day in your life. But I think if the job you love is drawing 23 pages every week, you'll work some days of your life for sure. It's okay. Donna will get to become a child soldier in Crom's army now. What's that a reference to? You didn't want to like Psychos, but it did end up being pretty cute. Oh yeah, like yeah, it had a couple issues. One issue is that the girl on the left gets sexualized like kind of every 3 chapters, just really suddenly and really arbitrarily. It's clearly an attempt by the author to get readers, and it did not work, so he shouldn't have even tried. Um, I mean, it'd be nice if they didn't try either way, but sometimes that's the industry, unfortunately. You saw Bucket Kid and you knew he wasn't staying for long. You're not surprised Astro Royale is the only one staying from this trio. Yes. So 3 series debuted early spring, and 2 of them got canceled. The one that's sticking around uh is indeed Astro Royale. Um the series uh from the Tokyo Revengers guy, and it's clear that it's really only sticking around because of the pedigree of that dude's name. Um like it doesn't like it's not really super liked or very popular. It's selling copies, but less copies than you'd expect from the Tokyo Revengers guy. But it does seem like they're going to give him at least another batch or two to kind of keep doing his thing before they axe it. I think I won't be talking about the series this time next year, right? Like I think this time next year it won't be in the magazine anymore, but it does get to run for a little while longer, yeah. Did Chevron sponsor this series? You see his tie. Like you mean Psychos? That just means that Bucket Hat Boy is trans. Oh, Donald gets to be a child soldier in Crom's army because he has a bucket on his head. Right. Right. Good joke. Good joke. But yeah, that's Astro Royale has some really cool character concepts, so you'll be sad to see it eventually go. My fiance really loves the boy in Astro Royale that is just like a Cheshire cat, basically. Like he has a tail and like transformation powers. But okay, so those series are ending. Yeah, because he's cool as fuck. So those series are ending, and we're getting 3 new series. Tomorrow, the first of those series is going to debut. And like I've gone from being really excited about it to having kind of mixed feelings. But yeah, the first debut is called Ichi the Witch. Um, Now the thing I'm excited about, um, like you may be like, Daniel, is what? Okay, it's a witch. The magic. You like magic? Is that what's exciting? Um, and I mean, yeah, I like magic, but the thing that's exciting about this is the duo of authors working on it. Um, the writer is their name is escaping me. The person doing the writing, the person doing the story is Osamu Nishi, and she is the author of Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun, um, which is I've only read a few volumes of it so far, but what I've read is a very great manga about a boy who uh who gets who gets sold, like who gets bartered to a demon by his parents, because the demon wants a grandson, and then he sends his grandson to a demon school where he has to hide the fact he's not a demon from all the demons who would eat him if they knew he was a human. Um, and it's just, yeah, it's just him getting like befriending his classmates and his teachers at this demon school, and it's so funny and cute and wholesome and just a blast. It's a great series. Like Iruma-kun is fantastic, and the artist is Shiro Usasaki. And I'm just really happy to see her back in the magazine because she was the artist of Act Age, which was apparently a manga that I never read more than one chapter of, because shortly after I read the first chapter, um, the the writer of that series got arrested for being a sex pest. Um, and and it was apparently a really good series about a girl that gets into acting, basically. And the art for it was really good, apparently. And the artist was not a sex pest, so it was kind of a bummer that she lost her job, basically. But at the time that it happened, Shonen Jump was like, "Hey, we are going to keep finding ways to give Usasaki work, and she will be back in the magazine at some point. And when she is back in the magazine, we want to make sure that it's something that, you want to try to make sure that it's something that she'll get to draw for a while." Because this was clearly going to Act Age was clearly going to be a success before this happened. Um, so we want to make sure that Usasaki gets to work on another success someday. Um, And so the Act Age artist has been doing one shots for Shonen Jump and stuff, but she hasn't gotten to debut with a whole new series yet. Um, and here is Ichi the Witch. Um, so that's exciting. The combination of those two talents, which are both very talented people, is exciting. Um, I got a little less excited when I found out the synopsis, which is basically that this is a world where all everyone that's magical is a girl. Only a girl can be a witch, but oh, a boy is a witch now, and this boy's name is Ichi, and why is the boy a witch? Look at the boy that's a witch. So like, you know, I think that could be um like, just due to the talents working on this, I think this could still be a very good manga. I really like the character designs. Like Ichi's got a solid character design. I love this bitch here. I love this character design. Who's this? Tell me who this is. Um, but yeah, I hope that there's more to the series besides like what if boys were oppressed instead of girls, like it'd be really weird if like two women team up to do a manga in Shonen Jump for the very first time. This is the first series ever, by the way, that's that's in Weekly Shonen Jump that's made by a team of two women. It'd be really weird if if two women team up to make a series. It's like what if boys were the oppressed class? What do I have against boys being witches? Not a good look, sweaty. I'm cool with boys being witches. Uh I'm just kind of side-eyeing like only one boy can be a witch. Uh Daniel is over party. No. You killed me. Please let please let Ichi the witch be better than Mashal. You not like Mashal? I It's funny, I loved I loved the beginning of Mashal. I loved the end of Mashal. I I understand if people fell off the middle. I think the middle drags a bit. But I did kind of love the final arc of it. And I love the beginning of it. Also, Ilyana Rasputin, I see you. Who is Ilyana Rasputin? It's a comic book character. Oh, it's Magic. It's Magic from the X-Men. Right, Magic. Very good. Red Pill, the manga. Yeah, like, yeah, I think there's ways that that concept can be bad, but right now I'm choosing to be cautiously optimistic. Because I really want this team to succeed. I really want I really want this to be good. So I hope that it's good. The art's already great. And and this isn't like the highest quality image. Um but even kind of the glimpses of other character designs you can see are like, "Ooh, I want to meet that person. I want to meet that person." Um so yeah, I am cautiously optimistic for Madan no Ichi, aka Ichi the Witch. Um, yeah, I hope it's good. I'll find out to some extent tomorrow. And as always, I'm sure I'll update you guys as I read these and let you know what I think. The next series I'm also excited about because it also uh has a returning author that I like a lot. This is Shinobi Goto, and this is going to be a new ninja manga from the authors of Candy Flurry. Um, do I have Candy Flurry in OBS already? No, it wouldn't be hard for me to put Candy Flurry in OBS. Oh fuck, yes it would. It turns out I don't already have an image saved. No. Well, anyway, Candy Flurry was this manga. It was a battle manga um about a world where people had like candy powers basically. Like the main girl was a girl that could kind of like summon lollipops like instead of taking like hammers out of like hammer space, basically she's just pulling lollipops out of nowhere and wielding them like they were big hammers. um uh you had like a popcorn guy, um that basically like uh shot like popcorn kernels at you and then they exploded into popcorn. um there was an ice cream girl that could like freeze shit. It was great. I loved it. I loved Candy Flurry. But it didn't last for very long. Yeah, Candy Flurry did get canceled. Um, and and then there was no then I think they did like a one shot or two. This is an author artist duo, like a writer artist duo. The artist I think is Santa Mitarashi, and the writer is Ippon Takeguchi. Um, and yeah, like basically those two have basically just been teaming up a lot on different projects, and they're back. The two of them are back with the new manga called Shinobi Goto. And all I really know about it is that it's a ninja manga. Um, and it looks like this character is wearing like pretty modern clothing. Um, but even with that little knowledge, I am kind of excited. I think that you know I feel like this has room to be a battle manga. I feel like it'll probably be a battle manga of some sort. Um, and we haven't really had like a big ninja manga since Naruto. Maybe it's time for ninjas to make a comeback. I guess Boruto is still running, but like we haven't had. I feel like we haven't had like any big new ninja series that have really blown up in a while. So I do kind of hope this does well. I like that duo a lot. I think they're really funny and I think they make cool character designs, and I think I think they have a fun mix of like action and comedy. Um or at least they did in Candy Flurry, so I am excited to read this and I hope it's good. I hope it's good. Candy Flurry was cool, so fingers crossed. I loved Candy Flurry. I loved Candy Flurry. Um the last manga might be the one that I am like inexplicably most excited for. Um Let me just kind of remind myself who's making it. Right. Okay. Last series that's debuting 3 Sundays from now. Ichi the Witch is this Sunday. Shinobi Goto is next Sunday, and this is going to be September 22nd. Is Haku Taku. Um, Haku Taku is from Koki Ishikawa, and Koki Ishikawa hasn't. This is his first series. This is their first series in the magazine. They've done some one shots here and there, but really, most notably, the most notable thing about them right now is that they were an assistant for Black Clover, and that's like basically it. They're assistant for Black Clover. They've done some one shots. This is their first like major series that they've worked on. Um, and uh, and Hakutaku is about uh two high school boys that decided to become video game developers. And oh my god, this could be phenomenal. Like this could be so good. It could also be a flop. Uh it could fail to get an audience and fizzle out in like 16 to 18 chapters. But um I think the idea uh those are some big eyes. You know, I showed this picture to my fiance, and that's all he could talk about. How huge the boy's eyes were. It's like, no, look at the video game. They make video games. Look, he got big old bug eyes. Stop talking. It's gonna be a horror manga. No, he needs the big eyes to look at all the code he's gonna write. He needs the big eyes so he can see the pixels. One of my it's hard to call it my favorite because in some ways one of my favorite manga is a series called Bakuman, which is basically a series about characters that start in like middle or high school um like drawing manga, right? And then they become manga artists for Shonen Jump. They become a manga duo working on Shonen Jump series. And basically like you get to meet all these characters in Bakuman, and each of them are working on their own manga, and all of the manga are basically like made up for Bakuman. They're all stories within, they're all media within media, and it was really fascinating to read about all this fake manga inside the real manga magazine. Like there were some fictional versions of real people in Bakuman, specifically like actual editors and stuff are present in Bakuman. Anyway, yeah, one thing I loved about Bakuman is kind of the world it created, like all the media within media you got to experience. And I think Hakutaku has a great opportunity uh to like, show us a bunch of fake video games that are actually very cool. Um I and the idea of game development as like kind of a sports manga basically. Oh my god, I if it's well executed, I'm going to eat that up, man. Like imagine like imagine a tournament arc that's just these kids entering a game jam. Like like seeing all the games these two kids develop together, and like kind of them growing as people as their game development skills get better. Like, wow, wow, it could be so good. It could be so good. He has no nose. His eyes are like half of his head. Shut up. Stop. Anyway, yeah, like I think it's funny. Hakutaku has the potential to be the least good of the three. I think it has the potential to get canceled the soonest of the three. Um, because that's the way the cookie crumbles a lot of the time for first timers. If it's your first series, you definitely have less of a shot. Is he going to code a nose for himself? Now you guys are just being mean to me. Uh, manga from first time creators in Weekly Shonen Jump definitely has a higher chance of not surviving. A lot of the time because, these guys are making a series for the very first time. Obviously, they're not going to be experts at it right away. Um, they kind of they'll kind of have growing pains. They kind of learn from their mistakes as they go. And obviously, you're probably going to make the biggest mistakes on your first try. Like, it makes sense. It makes sense that that first timers Um, like, yeah, you don't always get a success on your first try. Actually, you often don't. Um, it is funny though, like I can think of a couple recent additions to the magazine uh that were the author's first try and they're a success, right? Kagurabachi, the Kagurabachi guy, that's his first entry in the magazine. And it's doing great. Kagurabachi's doing great. Niue's Exorcist, unfortunately, that creator's first manga in the magazine, and it is at least a modest success. Um, so that means it's possible. It's possible that Hakutaku could do good. Um, but also maybe Hakutaku will get canceled and the author won't get to come back until he learns how to draw smaller eyes and noses. Who knows? Who knows? Can't wait for the arc where they get popular and people accuse their game of being woke. luckily these these are Japanese game developers, so they don't have to deal with that as much. There's there's the arc where they go overseas to promote their game in America, and then suddenly everyone's calling their game woke because there's a woman in it. Not coming back until he draws noses is a fair punishment. I I shouldn't have said anything. Anyway, um yeah, so I think um it's funny, like I think my excitement level, right, for the new series that are coming out is Hakutaku, then Shinobi Goto, then Ichi the Witch. But I think the order of most likely to be successful is Ichi the Witch, then Shinobi Goto, then Hakutaku. It's literally the inverse of each other. But I guess specific predictions, I think that I just get kind of a vibe that Ichi the Witch is is going to do pretty okay initially. Um but not as well as Shonen Jump's hoping, and I think it'll last for less than a year. That's kind of my gut feeling. And then Shiro Suzaki will get to come back later with a different writer, and maybe that one will be more of a success. It's funny. I actually predicted during my 2023 review and my 2024 predictions for Shonen Jump. I predicted that Usasaki would come back. My prediction was that Usasaki would get paired with the writer of The Promised Neverland, because the artist of The Promised Neverland is drawing Beyblade right now. Um, so maybe if Madan no Ichi doesn't do that great, maybe that still has an opportunity to happen. Um, I think Shinobi Goto. Uh, Shinobi Goto is really hard to call. I do just kind of get the vibe that it's gonna get axed in like 20 something chapters. Uh, that's just kind of the vibe. I feel like there's gonna be fun things about it, but it's not really gonna make that much of an impression. You know, I think that it's going to fail to get the attention of Japanese teenagers, and that duo will leave the magazine again and have only one more shot at a success, and maybe they'll have to move to like Jump Plus or something. And yeah, Hakutaku I think is probably most likely to get axed really quickly and unceremoniously. But God, I really hope, like, I love manga. I love sports manga about things that aren't really sports, you know? I love Akane Banashi, which is a sports manga about Rakugo. I There's a lot that I love about Bakuman, which is a sports manga about writing manga. I really want to see a great sports manga about game development. I think that idea has so much potential, and it'll be a big bummer if if that potential is squandered. I'm I'm going to predict with my heart here and say that um because a bunch of Japanese teenagers are gamers, that there will actually be a surprising amount of of uh of popularity directed at this early on, and that hopefully it can become at least like kind of a modest success, maybe like an Akane Banashi level success, you know. Um yeah, I'll say that this is a sleeper hit in the making, but maybe I'll be talking about this again in like 5 months. I acknowledge the possibility that I'll be talking about this again in 5 months. Like, yeah, maybe people in Japan will just be turned off by the art style. I don't know. Um, we shall see about little bug gamer boy. He's he's a bug because he needs to find the computer bugs. He needs to find the bugs in the video game. That's why he bug. Um, how high up our noses on the popularity polls? Well, I don't know. Just let me look at the art for Kagurabachi real quick. There's not a lot of emphasis on his nose there, really. Maybe this is just because it's a low quality picture, but like, I guess his nose. I guess Astro Royale's nose is a little defined. Yeah, but he has one. I see. So it's if you have no nose at all that that you're doomed to failure. And his eyes aren't bug eyes. Leave Hakutaku boy alone. I wonder if Hakutaku, which by the way, like the Japanese title is Hakutaku spelled out in the English alphabet. Um so I wonder if Hakutaku is meant to be like hack talk, you know? Like I wonder if that's meant to invoke English words somehow. Um I think when we find out I think when we find out the localized title of uh of this series, that'll become more apparent. Um but yeah. Yeah, it's that. Oh, I guess I can update on the manga that debuted in late spring 2024, right? Cuz there's Yokai Buster Murakami, um which I I thought was kind of bad, and then it showed some ways it could be funny and interesting, and then the last couple chapters have been boring again. I do think that this is the worst series of the last batch, but I think there's stuff that's funny about it. It's basically uh the guy the person in the pink hair is actually a boy. The person in the pink hair is a boy, um, who's trying to become like a big time exorcist, but is a scaredy cat and keeps failing. And then the boy in the back, um, keeps basically roasting yokai as they show up, and the yokai are like defeated by the power of his skepticism. Yeah, it's a funny enough concept. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Um, there's one chapter where the guy in the back just dies at the end. Like there's some funny stuff. There is some funny stuff. But overall, I think it it's a gag manga that doesn't really always hold my attention. Um, Ultimate Exorcist Kyoshi has been great. It has like kind of like Soul Eater meets One Punch Man vibes. Um, it's like it's very comedic. It's very lighthearted. But also has like some cool action scenes, great character designs. Um, it's not like reinventing the wheel at anything it does. But it does have a lot of like it is a lot of fun, and I think the execution is really solid, and there's some great character designs, some characters I really like already. Um, I really don't know how much longer this is gonna stay in the magazine. Like I think the series might have another 2 months. It could have another 2 years. It's really hard to tell right now. Yokai Buster Murakami's in a really interesting situation where like it's it's deliberately put as the last chapter of the magazine every week. So we can't use the table of contents to determine how popular it is. Um, some people are speculating that it's probably going to be in the magazine for at least a year because it has that special back in the magazine designated spot, but I guess we'll see. And then Hematen. Yeah, this is a love triangle. This is just a romance manga. The boy is a house cleaner. The girl is an idol, basically. She's not an idol. Uh, she's like a, she's like the teenage owner of her own makeup company. So she's like a minor celebrity. Um, and he has to clean her house, but he has a crush on another girl who also has a crush on him. Uh, but shenanigans. The three of them keep getting entwined with each other, and yeah, as far as like love triangle romance manga goes, the writing's pretty solid, the art's nice. But honestly, I wouldn't be upset if it got canceled soon to make room for something else. And maybe if that gets canceled, then Hakutaku can stay in the magazine for longer. Yeah, that's and that's what's going on with Shonen Jump this season. Yeah, the magazine's definitely uh starting to get into a very interesting shape. Like um two of the biggest series ending around the same time. My Hero Academia, Jujutsu Kaisen, both having left or about to leave the magazine. Hunter x Hunter coming back for a bit, but will probably leave again. Um, like after Jujutsu Kaisen leaves, and like after Hunter x Hunter leaves the magazine again, um, after that happens, the most recent like the oldest manga, the oldest series in the magazine besides One Piece will be Mission Yozakura Family, which is also ending. It's also like um it's also like in its climax, and that's probably leaving the magazine by the end of the year. So what's gonna happen to Dragon Ball Z? That's a great question. I don't know if Shueisha even knows. If you're asking in the Shonen Jump magazine, it Dragon Ball hasn't been in the magazine for a while. Dragon Ball Super runs in a different. It was running in a different Jump magazine, not Weekly Shonen Jump, but Psycho Jump or something. I forget exactly which one. Grand Jump maybe. Um, but that got discontinued. That got put on a hiatus when Akira Toriyama passed. Um, and yeah, we don't really know the future of Dragon Ball right now. There's there's some really weird stuff happening in regards to the rights of Dragon Ball, even where um Toriyama had basically a specific editor that he really trusted and gave a lot of control over his property to. Um, and Shueisha, kind of the owners of the IP, would clash with that editor a lot. And now that Toriyama's gone, it's unclear. Yeah, it's unclear. It's unclear what's happening with Dragon Ball. That new anime Dragon Ball Daima, which Toriyama put a lot of work into before he passed, that's about to start airing. But we really have no clue what's happening with Dragon Ball after all that. Yeah, it's good question. Good question. I don't know. Um yeah, I don't know. Um well, yeah. I went through that pretty quickly actually. Feel like my Shonen Jump previews are usually longer than that. But not a lot longer actually. Not a lot longer. Yeah, not a lot longer at all. Blue Lock time. Um New Blue Lock's coming out soonish, right? Like doesn't season 2 start kind of soon? October 5th. Yeah, that's next month. Right, the season will be called entitled Versus U20 Japan. That should be cool actually. I'm excited for that. I need to catch up on the manga. Um yeah, I haven't read the manga past where the anime ends basically. I should read more of that. I really enjoy reading the manga before watching the anime. Um for Blue Lock specifically, because I do like the Blue Lock anime, but also it's uh the first season in particular was very low budget sometimes. It's actually nicer to see it as manga art than it is to see animated sometimes. But hey, now that Blue Lock is like one of the most successful manga that's currently running, um, maybe the second season will have a better budget. I guess we'll see. Um, what else? I'm almost done reading Assassination Classroom. Um, and I'm largely enjoying that. Uh, Marriage Toxin's still good. About Time. Oh, on Assassination Classroom, one of your fave shows. Yeah, I've been reading the manga. I haven't watched the anime at all. It's great. Yeah, it's great. Or there's a lot about it that is great. Like Matsui's a fucking weirdo sometimes, and sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes that's a bad thing. Um, but like, yeah, I do love the high concept. Um, I love the mix of like action and comedy. I love the mix of kind of like I think the way they blend assassination stuff with just like Japanese middle schooler stuff is really well done sometimes. And I enjoy a lot of the character arcs. I like the way they flesh out a lot of the different characters. How long do I think Roboco will go on for? That's a great question. Um uh Gag manga by its very nature tends to not run in the magazine for very long. Um Dr. Slump, one of the most successful gag manga of all time, um ran in the magazine for like 8 years, right? Um, oh my god, it's half as long as I thought. It ran in the magazine for 4 years. Um, Roboco, Roboco has already lasted for longer than Doctor Slump did. Hold on, started in 2020. Ooh. Okay, it hasn't run for longer than Dr. Slump did, but it's on the verge of doing so. Dr. Slump ran for 4.5 years, and Roboco has currently run for 4 years and like 2 months. So if it's still running in early 2025, if it's still running in like spring 2025, then Roboco will have outlasted Dr. Slump, one of Toriyama's like most iconic series. Just can't stop the Roboco sweep. Oh, because Roboco sweeps, because she's a maid. Kill me. Dr. Stone? What about Dr. Stone? Is it getting like a new season this year? Ever since I finished the manga, I haven't really followed the anime very closely. I see. There is a final season of Dr. Stone called Science Future that is currently in development. It says to premiere in 2025 and will run for 3 split cours. Final season apparently, which is so odd to you, felt like they could do 3 seasons. Well, it seems like they're going to split the last season into 3 seasons. Where are they at in the anime right now? Did they? I feel like what they probably just did in the anime was finish finish the arc where they go to that island with like the tribe or whatever, right? That's probably the last season they did. Um they barely finished the Statue Island. Okay, cool. So the final, yeah, so for the final season they have to cover like they have to cover uh going to America, and then they have to cover and then they have to cover all the aftermath from that. Hope they don't go the Attack on Titan route with final season part 3 second half. Yeah, no, it looks like they're just splitting the last season into 3 segments, which I feel could be like I feel like the first chunk could be like Dr. Stone and his friends go to America. The second half could be uh Dr. Stone and his friends deal with all the fallout from them going to America, and then the third half, the final part can be like them solving the mystery of the Y Man uh and like dealing with the final thing. Um yeah. That could kind of work. That could kind of work. The ending sucks. I didn't hate the ending. You hope they change it? I don't think they'll change it. They never even brought in the side story. I think that was weird that they never brought in the side story. But I also get the vibe that they're not even going to animate the side story. So, uh, it is still funny to think that there is just like, yeah. I'm trying not to spoil Doctor Stone stuff too much, but like, it's funny to think that the side story is just like, just introduces major plot element that never gets resolved. Yeah, 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 never gets resolved. Yeah, I think outside of that, the ending was fine. I think it was the best possible ending for the series? Maybe not, but I didn't hate it. I think I think it tied up a lot of things the best that it could, better than I was expecting in some ways. Honestly, I think the epilogue story they did, I think 4D Science or whatever it's called, I think that actually like cheapens the experience a bit. Like I think you felt like they changed the ending partway through. Yeah, they could have. That's manga. Sometimes that's manga. Um I think yeah, I think the most recent like I think the arc that they did after they ended the series was actually disappointing in a lot of ways. It was the setup for it was so cool. I was like, "Oh, this is going to be fire. This is going to be amazing." And then it was fine. Then it was fine. Yeah, I think kind of the post-ending sequence of Doctor Stone is more disappointing than the ending itself. IMO. But yeah, I'm almost done with Assassination Classroom. Like I'm on the last volume and then I'll be done. I have already cried reading Assassination Classroom. Some moments near the end get surprisingly emotional. Um but yeah, I guess really I'm just looking forward to starting the new batch. You need to catch up on S Class. Yes, yes, please. The last two openings are great for that show. Maybe I'll just look up some Assassination Classroom openings at some point. Everyone cries in an ass class. It's required to pass. It's yeah. I was definitely caught off guard. I was caught off guard by how emotional a couple of key moments near the end were. Um, but yeah. It'll be interesting to see anything from this year or next year will become the next big thing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to so Shonen Jump's publication year ends in November, right? So early December, I'll do my 2024 recap and 2025 predictions. And I think doing recap and predictions this year will be really fun. I think it'll be really fun to do predictions this time. Um I guess one thing I think so far is that Kagurabachi is going to get bigger and bigger. I think I don't think we're going to get a Kagurabachi anime for a while just because they need to make enough content for at least a season of the anime to even exist. Um we're barely a year into Kagurabachi. They're probably going to wait until Kagurabachi has been out for at least 2 or 3 years before we'll get an anime or anything, but I do think it's gonna keep steadily getting more popular. Um, yeah, because the story is just really well paced. It's just is Kagurabachi is so good for no reason. Yeah, their chapters just keep being bangers. It's crazy. It's crazy that this is this guy's first work. It's very good. He never expected Demon Slayer or Jujutsu Kaisen to become among like the 20 top 20 best-selling manga ever made, but here we are. I was not expecting Jujutsu Kaisen to get that big. I thought it would be popular, but I was not expecting it to get that big. Demon Slayer Demon Slayer I didn't even know existed until it blew up because Demon Slayer was really one of the things that kind of got me back into manga, I think. Yeah, they'll find something soon. Yeah, I think there's at least a couple things currently in the magazine that haven't blown up and become huge yet, but will. Um I'm counting Kagurabachi in that because I don't think Kagurabachi has blown up and become huge yet. It is it is pretty popular for what it is right now, but I think it's gonna blow up even more. And yeah, or I guess I should say like by the end of this year, I think there'll be some contenders for big successes in the magazine. I'm excited to see what they are. I'm excited to find out what they are. Yeah. This is a really wild time for Shonen Jump, so I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see how things develop from here. Um yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, now this is about the correct amount of time that that my manga talk goes on for. So, yeah, cool. Yeah, the new batch starts tomorrow. So I'll get to read Madan. I'll get to read Ichi the Witch starting tomorrow, and then the week after that is Shinobi Goto, and then the week after that is Hakutaku. So so yeah, I'm sure if you tune in to my streams over the next few weeks, I'll probably be talking about my impressions of those manga. And yeah, Monday I am playing more Arceus. And God, I hope that like I'll be done with this cough, man. I'd really like to be able to do voices again without killing myself. And and then next Friday I'm playing the Marvel vs. Capcom collection. I'm pumped for that. And then Saturday, if I'm able, I will do some versus Capcom roster predictions. I'll do some versus Capcom roster building stream if I'm able. If it turns out that I'm not able, maybe I'll adjust it to something else last minute. But yeah, like I have a roster fully done, I have a roster mostly done, and I have a roster kind of approaching done. Um so we'll see. We'll see. Um yeah, and then the week after that is going to be more Arceus and then UFO 50, my most anticipated game of the year. Uh yeah, and then October will have some good shit. November will have some good shit. December will have me talking, will be me doing more manga recap, which is where I'm not making too many predictions about the magazine broadly right now because that's coming. That'll come in a few months. That'll come in a few months. All right, cool. All right, thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back on Monday. Hope to see you then. Have a good night.